All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's lesson. It's about perimeter. To kind of start us off, we're going to go back a few years, back a long, long time ago, to elementary school when you learned how to get the perimeter of shapes. The perimeter of shape is how far is it around the whole thing. So let's say we have a shape like this, and you want to figure out the perimeter. You got to figure out this length, and this length, and this length, and this length, and you had to add all those up. This one, you do 5 plus 13 plus 15 plus 18 is going to end up with 51 meters. That's how you get perimeter. Well, the reason we're talking about it again this year, it's a little bit more complicated because whooplam, it's on a coordinate plane, which requires you to know how to get the distance for all the sides. You may notice it's some of these sides are really easy to get, like this one, right? You got 1, 2. This side is 2. This side is also 2, so you got 2 sides are 2. Hooray! Easy peasy. But this side, not as easy. And that's because you need to use your Pythagorean theorem to get the distance of this length. And so that's what makes this a little bit harder. That's what moves it up to your level at secondary math 1. And so we're going to use our Pythagorean theorem to find this length here. Luckily, this is already a right triangle with sides 2 and 2. If you recall from yesterday, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so if you want to get the length of that diagonal side, you're going to take the 2 lengths of 2 and square them and add them up, and that'll be that longest length squared. Oh, sorry, don't put a plus there. That's silly. You got to put equals. So now we got 4 plus 4 is c squared, which means it's a is c squared, which means at this point we need to do some square rooting, which means c is the square root of 8. That number is not very easy to add to 2 and 2 to get our perimeter. And so you're going to use the decimal approximation for the square root of 8. That's going to happen a lot on this assignment. So plug square root of 8 in your calculator and get what c comes out to be, which is about 2.8. So now that we know this third length, this is the third length there. It's about 2.8. Now we can get our perimeter, which I'm just going to call P, is going to be 2 plus 2 plus 2.8, which will leave us with 6.8. And actually, we should change this to approximately because we had to round that hypotenuse length there. So it's about 6.8. And that's the general process. So let's go ahead and move on to another example. Let's jump to number 4. By the way, these are on your assignment. You should follow along with them. And so if we look at 4, again, we have a triangle. You have to get all 3 side lengths. So you have to get this one and this one and this one and add them up. Well, one of these is really easy. This one over here, pretty easy to figure out. You count it and you're looking at 5. So this one's 5. But the other ones require you to turn it into a right triangle and get the length of those sides of that right triangle so you can get the hypotenuse length. You gotta do the same thing down here. So what I recommend is pausing the video and see if you can get those lengths real quick. The length from T to A, and then from T to M, and then we'll check it in just a moment. Alright, let's have you check and see how you did on the top one. The sides of this right triangle are 2 and 4. You'll square those and add it up. You get 20. So the square root of 20 is that diagonal length, and the square root of 20 is about 4.5. Go ahead and if you haven't gotten the length of T to M yet, go ahead and get that and check back pause and then check back in a moment. So go ahead and make sure that you got 5 for that diagonal length there. The legs of this right triangle are 3 and 4. You square those, you get 9 and 16. Add them up, you get 25. And the square root of 25 is 5, so there's no approximate there. At this point, you have all 3 lengths. You got 5, you got 4.5, and you got 5 again. And so you're going to add all these up. Our perimeter is going to be 5 plus 4.5. And actually, we should change this to approximately because we had to do some rounding. So we're looking at approximately 14.5, whatever the units are. And there's your perimeter. Let's move on to one last example, and this one has more sides. If it's got more sides, you get more lengths. It's pretty much just the pattern. You get how long all the lengths are, add them up, and you got your perimeter. So see if you can... Oh, let's do the easy ones here. We got 3 and 3. Go ahead and get these lengths here, and we'll pause the video and check back once you have those completed. So, did you get about 5.4 for both of those? If you didn't, something went horribly wrong. They actually are both, the sides of those right triangles are the same. They're both 2 and 5. Square the 2 and the 5, you get 4 and 25. Add them up, you get 29, and you square root that. So now we have all 4 side lengths. Our perimeter is going to be about 3 plus 5.4 plus 5.4, which is going to give you about 16.8. And now is a good time to mention that when you get these lengths here, since you're doing some approximating here, you're doing some approximating here, that kind of adds how much error is in our answer. You can get a little bit more precise if instead of putting in the decimal approximations, you put the actual square root of 29 in there. And your calculator can handle that. You just have to plug them in. But you will have to round at the end. Go ahead and put that in a calculator just so you can see the difference that it makes. It's not a huge difference, but it's going to make a small difference. So try that out and check back. So yeah, you got about 16.77 that it keeps going. So this is a little bit more precise. If you round to the first decimal place, it's still 8. But you should be aware that when you do these approximations and then you start adding them or you're multiplying, the amount of error increases as you keep using those to do further calculations. So be aware of that. But for this assignment, it's okay if you use your decimal approximations in there. But there you go. That's how you get perimeter. Good luck.